Hey, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about New Hampshire, voting suppression in particular. So we got the news yesterday that a federal judge said it was unconstitutional for New Hampshire's law that was signed in 2024 under Governor Chris Sununu that you had to show your passport or your birth certificate if you're a first-time voter in New Hampshire. Now, that's a long time coming. I'm actually super happy to see this, especially before the midterms. Everybody knew that this was unconstitutional. Everybody understands that the stolen election doesn't exist. There's not a lot of people out there that are doing this. So, hey, my name's Adam Mulholland, and if you've made it this far into the video, one, thank you. If you want to support and you want to see me bring more stuff to New Hampshire, content, interviews, live streams, there's so much stuff that I want to do with this channel, and you can help me by simply subscribing, liking, commenting. I know you hear it all the time, but a lot of people understand that voter suppression is super real. We're seeing it through the South right now. New Hampshire's tried their hand at it a few times. I think everybody on board knew that this was unconstitutional. Everybody knew that this would get struck down. So as I was saying in the beginning, yesterday, a federal judge declared that New Hampshire's 2024 law requiring first-time voters in the state to show proof of U.S. citizenship when they register is unconstitutional. This was definitely a blow to the Republican Party here. If they could stop everybody from voting except the ones that they pick, and they say, you can vote for us and you can vote for us, that would be ideal for them. But for the rest of us that believe in democracy and our votes matter, we obviously don't want this. So the judge ruled with a 98-page ruling. I put the link below in the description. It's from NPR. You can go check it out if you really want to read it. I'm just going to be here talking about the gist of it. So the article goes on to say the decision goes into effect immediately, clearing the way for new voters to register without a U.S. passport or a birth certificate. And, in the past, and this is what the article does talk about, before, you just showed up to the polls on election day and you just filled out an affidavit. You gave it to them. The ruling follows a 9-day trial earlier in the year where the backers just couldn't prove any kind of election fraud. In fact, only one person in 26 years has been prosecuted for voting as a non-U.S. citizen. So I think that we've seen this across the country as well. There's just very little evidence that there is an election problem. There just simply is not a rigged election. There's not this giant issue of voter fraud. It rarely happens. And when it does, it absolutely gets prosecuted. We all hear it. It usually makes headlines, and it's usually done by a Republican. And, we all say, oh, there it is again, that projection. Anyway, more on that in another video, I'm sure. But, it goes to show that the system works, even if it's slowly. I mean, in 2026, before the midterms, this has probably slowed down a lot of people from registering to vote here in New Hampshire. So I'm hoping that now that this has been rescinded, now this is ruled unconstitutional, I hope that anybody that has not registered to vote in New Hampshire, please go to your town hall and go register to vote. Right? We have a primary coming up on September 8th, and then we have the general election on first Tuesday in November. I can't wait for it. We have a lot riding on the line. I don't care who you vote for. I want to make sure every vote is heard. Nobody's vote's better than somebody else's or anything. One person, one vote, unless you're in Delaware. We'll do a video on that too coming up if anybody's seen that stuff. All right, let's scroll through and see what we can get done on this to wrap up, right? I want to recognize some of the groups that challenged this. And so here, the legal challenge to House Bill 1569, which was signed by Governor Sununu back in 24, came from a range of groups. That includes the League of Women Voters, New Hampshire Youth Movement, and the ACLU of New Hampshire. And they go on, of course, to say making it hard to vote is a clear attack on our democracy. And I think if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, I think we can all agree that this is an attack on our democracy. Any kind of voter suppression is an attack on our democracy. And too many people have fought so hard for the right to vote. Everybody gets to vote. Women, citizens, whether you were born here or you immigrated through the process, everybody has a shot at this. So the article goes on to say that the state hasn't really figured out if they're going to appeal this. And I'm sure it's Friday, so we won't hear this until probably next week, whatever, the movement's going to be there. And I'll follow up. If there's anything more to this, I'm hoping that the state will just drop it and say, hey, you know what, we were wrong. And, we won't do that again. But we all know that's not going to happen, more than likely. I would be shocked. The only way they won't pursue this, I bet, is if it's just too expensive, because the state doesn't have a lot of money because Republicans do the budget and, so on, so on. It's kind of like a connective little history thing. Anyway, and the judge goes on to say the qualified voter affidavit form in 2024, the one we were just talking about earlier, it was easy. It allowed people to vote and it worked. It did its job. There was zero reason to take that out of the process unless you don't want people to vote, which is exactly what they wanted. Let's just talk about the affidavit real quick, because what that is a legal form that says, I am telling you the truth. And if you're not telling somebody the truth, that can be used against you in a legal proceeding. So it did the job of rooting out people that were not citizens versus citizens, because, as I said earlier, one person got prosecuted in 26 years. This literally is not an issue that is worth so much of our resources. And unfortunately, there's a lot of representatives out there that don't have our best interest at heart. So to them, it's just worth it. It's the cost of doing business. There's a few interesting parts of this article too. Down below it says, during the trial, expert witnesses testify that nearly 40% of people don't have a U.S. passport. I'm actually surprised it's not worse than that, because I would think the majority of Americans don't have passports. I've done a lot of traveling overseas, and you do find Americans all over the world traveling. And I know this is anecdotal, but I really thought that number, I thought the number of people that have passports was probably like 20%. So that's interesting to see. What do you think? Did you have the same thought? Leave a comment below. I'd like to hear. And I think this is the biggest part right here, is the fact that it hurts married women the most. And same with the SAVE Act. For those that don't know, in the federal part of our representatives in Congress down there in Washington, they would like to basically do this through the SAVE Act. Anyway, maybe we'll do a video on that in the future for those that need a little bit more information there. But, basically, if you're a woman, you got married, you probably more than likely took your husband's last name, or, people changed their last name. The birth certificate is subject to change throughout your life. Maybe you feel different. Maybe you change your name. I don't know. Everybody has a different bridge to cross. And I'll make note of this. New Hampshire is one of the few states in the nation that allows people to register right there at the polls. So you can go in, fill out the affidavit, and, go get your ballot and go cast your vote. Living in New Hampshire is pretty cool from the politics side of things, because we have access to our politicians like most people don't have across the country. Our events are everywhere. We are a very involved state, and I do love that, because there's so much passion. It doesn't matter where you live in New Hampshire. Almost everybody here wants to be part of the process. And I thought it was pretty interesting that they note that 10,000 people are first-time voters in the 2024 election. We saw that here in my local town, Barrington. We had several hundred people register for the first time to vote in 2024. Our turnout for that election was nearly 91%, unheard of. And I stood with holding my sign during that whole day. The amount of people we saw come through was incredible. And I would even say it was very inspiring that so many people were that passionate about election. Sadly, though, our following election for the municipal in this year, only 21% came out to vote for our budgets. So, it just depends who's at the top of the ticket. And that's something I want to talk about more in videos as well. And then, of course, the critics, they're saying that, it's so hard to investigate a large number of voters, and that, they can't staff all the election poll sites and this and that. It's so hard. I think the state is more than capable of staffing whatever offices they want. They have a large amount of money that we don't have as towns because they took it all since they don't pay for education. And at the end of the day, they need to figure this out. That's the whole reason why we elected all these people, for them to figure this out. So I don't want to hear like, oh, we can't staff elections. Elections is months away. You have time. You are not doing that job is what it says to me, right? If you're telling me, oh, I can't do it and throwing your hands up, I just don't believe you. I simply do not believe you. We have a quote right here at the end from Representative Ross Berry, a Republican from Ware. And he says, this isn't the first time a progressive judge has ignored the law and precedent to push a political agenda. That's always the go-to. Right? There's always a scapegoat. The judge sucks. Boo, get him out of here. You know, but this is a correct take. This is unconstitutional. This is voter suppression. It's right there in our House. It's in our Senate. It's sitting in the governor's office. We are not doing well as a state because we keep putting people in office that push these bills, that try to take our rights away. Listen, I think this is a win for New Hampshire. I think anything that makes voting easier is a win for all of us. I don't think it matters what side you're on. Everybody should get a vote, have the opportunity to show up, cast that ballot, and have their voices heard. Voter suppression sucks. And we, especially being in New Hampshire, we have 400 elected representatives, one for every 3,300 of us. We have a lot of voice, and it's our duty to put it out there, to get it to the elections, fill out our ballots, and take part of our civic duty. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far, I just appreciate your time. You know, if you like what I do and you want to support, again, please subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.